and managers. Today we'll be discussing many flexible work schedules in the city of Baltimore. My name is Michelle Barth, and I will be your host along with the co-host Eric, who will be assisting us with questions and answers at the end. Before we get started, we would like to hear from you. Over to the right in the chat section during this webinar, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. That would be greatly appreciated. Today's agenda: managing work schedules, my team schedule report, assign modify work schedule, create work schedule, all schedules report, Workday demo, and then the question and answer session. Managing work schedules overview. Before I get started with that, I just want to point out in Workday, workers are the same as employees. Workday refers to employees as workers, so you will see that throughout this presentation. So the workers are assigned work schedules to indicate the days and times that they are scheduled to work. As you see in this illustration, this is what your timesheet will look like. It controls your timesheet. What an employee sees in Workday at the start of the workday and the week. The shading of the day will also be shown. Such as holidays or any block time that you have, you will see it on your timesheet. And it's also used for calculations of premiums behind the scenes. So when your work schedule is assigned, the employee's work, your pay is accurate. It's very important that you work the assigned work schedule that is assigned to you. Also, it provides an ad hoc, giving the managers flexibility to assign employee the work schedule, impromptu emergencies, fill in for someone who called in and things of that nature. Let's talk about roles and responsibilities. Managers and timekeepers have different roles in Workday. The managers accurately scheduling their employees or their workers. They monitor their team schedule. They also make new schedule assignments when necessary. Timekeepers create work schedules needed by managers for their employees. So if a manager goes to assign an employee a work schedule that's not there, they will communicate to the timekeeper because the timekeeper will create the work schedule. So there's a communications between managers and timekeepers so that this can operate smoothly. Managers can also perform an ad hoc schedule changes, and we'll talk a little bit more about that throughout this presentation. The My Team Schedule Report. As I just mentioned, the manager should run the My Team Schedule Report. They're responsible for doing that. It's pretty simple, and we'll show you more on how to do that during the demo. So there's just a couple of things that you do. You type in the My Team Schedule, as this illustration shows, My Team Schedule in the search field, then the date, and then identify your workers. Once you do that, you will arrive at the My Team Schedule report. Based on the workers that you identified, they're to the left, and then their schedule is to the right, so that you can get at a glance look at what your team is doing at all times. You can also change the view from week to day if you prefer, but the demo will show you that as well. I just want to give you a snapshot of what it looks like before the demo. Throughout this presentation, we'll have scenarios for managers as well as scenarios for timekeepers. So this is a scenario for managers. The City of Baltimore changed the time entry and payroll process. All City of Baltimore employees are loaded into the new Workday system. As their manager, I want to ensure that all my employees' work schedules are loaded and accurate. What is the first thing the manager should do in Workday? The first thing the manager should do is run the My Team Schedule report, as I just showed you. The My Team schedule gives a list of employees, as you've seen, and this report enables the managers to have flexibility in managing their team work schedule. So now let's get into how to assign a work schedule. Again, you will see this on the demo, but I want to just give you a sneak peek of what that looks like. Remember I said workers are the same as employees. So you identify the worker, but before I talk about that, notice that there's 3 red asterisks. The red asterisk indicates it is a required field. So you have to have a value in there before you can submit. So you identify your worker, and then you put a start date of when you want that worker to start the schedule, and then you identify the work schedule calendar. And remember I just said if the work schedule calendar is not available, that's when the manager will communicate with the timekeeper to create a new work schedule. Notice that there's no end date asterisk, red asterisk. That means that is optional. So if you don't put an end date, the work schedule will be assigned to that employee indefinitely. But if you put an end date, say for instance, if it's a temporary assignment, someone is out sick and they'll be out for 2 weeks, and so you can go ahead and put that end date. That way you don't have to worry about changing it when the time arrives. Another scenario for managers. After reviewing my team schedule report, the manager realizes there's an issue with the next week's schedule. The manager knew that the employee was covering a shift due to another employee's unexpected absence, and the employee's schedule in Workday needed to be assigned. What should the manager do in Workday? The manager will need to make the changes to the employee's work schedule by assigning the employee to the correct schedule. The manager can use the assign work schedule business process or assign the work schedules ad hoc. Remember we talked about having impromptu work schedule assignments, so they can do that for more flexibility. I'm pretty silly, I'm sorry. The manager can assign work schedules individually by following the ad hoc process. Create a work schedule. So now it's time to talk about the timekeeper's role. What can they do? They can create, edit, and assign worker-specific schedules to workers using the assign work schedule task. The only red asterisk here is the name. That's all you need. And then let's talk about the naming convention. The naming convention represents the work schedule for all City of Baltimore employees. It is comprised of pay group and the premium calculation as it relates to employees' pay. So be very mindful of following the naming convention so that the employees can be paid correctly. So this is very important. All right, so this illustration shows us all the pay groups, and then it gives us the first time entry date as well as the work week schedule, a start date. So it's very important that you use the naming convention. And let me just point out that you can always go to the website. There's going to be dive-aids, and it talks in details about this naming convention. So yes, I am really chilly, you guys, so that is probably where the trembling is coming from in my voice. So cold. All right, and so the scenario for timekeepers. The manager realizes that the new furlough mandate schedule does not exist in Workday, and he or she needs to assign it right away. What should the manager do in Workday? Very important that the manager communicates with the timekeeper. We need to contact the timekeeper will create the work schedule in Workday. And once the new work schedule has been assigned or been created, the timekeeper will notify the manager the work schedule has been created. Then the manager can assign the employee to the newly created work schedule. So that's the communication. It has to be back and forth so this can run smoothly. And remember that you have to be under the right work schedule so that your pay can be correct, accurate. All right, so the All Schedules Calendar Report. This is the report that the managers can run to see before they assign the person a work schedule to see if it's available. To run this report, again, you type All Schedules Report in the search field, click the All Schedules Report link, and then you will arrive at this work schedule report. In the demo, he's going to show you what you can do to this report. The last scenario is for managers. A manager is looking to add another shift to his department. There are 5 newly hired employees that need to be added to a work schedule, to a new shift. What's the first thing the manager should do in Workday? The managers will need to run the All Schedules calendar, report in Workday to view all the schedules before creating a new one. The All Schedules report will allow to view the schedule in the work system. The basic navigation to run this report is to type the All Schedules report in the search field. Okay, how does this work in Workday? So let's see.
Welcome to the Timekeepers Work Schedules demonstration. This demo is specifically designed for timekeepers. During this video, we will focus on how to create work schedules and run the All Schedule Calendars report. Let's get started. There are a lot of moving parts within the city of Baltimore as it relates to employee shifts, shift premiums, time entry, calculations, and more. Everything that was just mentioned needs to be tracked and managed. Let us begin by running the All Schedule Calendar report. To run this report, you simply type All Work Schedule Calendars in the search field. You can select the magnifying glass to see the result of your search, or you can just select from the auto-generated list. The All Schedules Calendar report enables managers and timekeepers to view all the work schedule calendars in Workday. As you can see, the report displays various data by using the horizontal and vertical scroll bars. You can filter the report by clicking on the header row of each column. The work schedule calendar is the name of calendars or schedules for those able to be assigned. The daybreaker defaults to midnight for all schedules. It does not prevent an employee from being paid for work that comes from a schedule which crosses over that date. This field is not to be edited or modified. The daybreaker divides is not applicable. This field is not to be edited or modified. The workweek start day must match the start day of the pay group using the schedule or FLSA, overtime, and other calculations for time. If the workweek start date is incorrect, it will affect an employee's payroll. The filter option allows you to rearrange the output of this report. You can sort this report by selecting Sort Ascending or Sort Descending Order. Another way to filter your report is to click the column in the header row section and enter the filter condition by clicking the drop-down arrow. Then you must enter a value by clicking the prompt and selecting the option of your preference. Once you select or enter in your criteria, click the filter button. The value depends on the column you are filtering. This icon indicates the report is filtered based on the workweek start date. The downward arrow indicates the report is sorted in a descending order in the work schedule calendar. Let's take a look at some more features of this report. The commonly used feature in this report is the Export to Excel feature. When exporting to Excel, remember the report is no longer in real time. If exported, the work schedules can be added to the report in Workday, but it will not be updated on the Excel spreadsheet. This concludes our first topic, how to run the All Schedule calendar. The next topic we will cover is how to create a work schedule. In Workday, timekeepers can create, edit, and modify work schedules specifically for workers using the Create Work Schedule Calendars task. To create a work schedule, type Create Work Schedule Calendar in the search field. You may select the task from the search list, or you can click the magnifying glass and select the task from the search results. Type the name of the work schedule calendar in the name field. As we previously learned during this presentation, the naming convention is particularly important. It should consist of the pay group and shift days. For example, Monday through Friday and the shift times of the day, as in 8 to 4. Please be mindful that not following the naming convention can cause the employees to be paid incorrectly. Also, be sure to run the All Work Schedule Calendar report before creating a new work schedule to avoid duplication. After entering in the name convention in the name field, scroll down to the time tracking section. If you are adding Daybreaker to the newly created schedule, you will need to click the icon adjacent to time tracking. Otherwise, you do not need to do anything in this section. This is the time tracking section. If you are creating a work schedule with Daybreakers, you will need to complete the required fields. Required fields are indicated by the red asterisk. The required fields are Daybreaker, Workweek Start Day, and Configurable Calculation Period. We are not creating breakers for this work schedule, so we will continue to scroll down to the Patterns section. There are 3 tabs associated with creating work schedule patterns. The only tab you will need to complete is the tab named Patterns. The blue line is an indicator of the tab you are currently on. Enter the pattern start date by clicking the calendar icon or type in the date. Remember, this date is the start date of the schedule and the date we want this new work schedule calendar to be available for assignment. Once you have entered a date, click the plus sign to add a row. This will allow Timekeepers to define start and end time, along with adding in and out times for meals. By selecting the drop-down arrow, you will need to select a schedule pattern type. In this demonstration, we will use the single shift and meal type. Over to the right, click the pattern details. Now you will need to enter the schedule days and in and out times for the work schedule you are creating. Remember, in the fields that are requesting time, you can enter the hour and the letter. For example, 7 o'clock p.m. can be entered as 7p. The time field also recognizes military time. The dates need to be entered based on the naming convention. Once you have entered in the dates, review for accuracy and select the Done button. Notice the Workday system will automatically give you the start day once you enter the date in the Date field. At a glance, you will be able to review your pattern detail and make any necessary changes prior to finalizing the newly created work schedule before it is final. After you have reviewed the pattern detail schedule, click OK to save the schedule. Now that your work schedule has been saved, you will be able to view the work schedule by running the All Work Schedule Calendar report. Now, managers can also assign employees to the work schedule calendar. This concludes the topic of how to create a work schedule for Timekeepers. Behind the scenes, hundreds of COB teams worked in collaboration in developing the functionalities of Workday. As you can imagine, the difficulty of so many city agencies with their own processes and procedures working to make changes so we can build a better work environment and smoother operating platform for the city. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, feel free to email workday@baltimorecity.gov or visit the website at www.workday.baltimorecity.gov. Thank you for watching. Spread the word on how excited you are to see the City of Baltimore progressing to the cloud.